Hello, everyone, and welcome to this exclusive interview by Financial Insight. With me is, the Chief Executive at the Lusaka Securities Exchange, and we've obviously witnessed something monumental for not just Zambia Sugar, but for Zambia as a whole. Yes, the LuSE has now recorded its third company that has now reached the $1 billion mark, and obviously it's an exciting day overall.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks very much, Mwelwa, and I appreciate so much for those
Absolutely.
remarks. Yeah,
Absolutely. So, Nicholas, just walk us through, what this means. You have now recorded a third company on the LuSE. Not too long ago, there was the previous announcement of the other two. What does this mean for the LuSE, and is our market is this more evidence of our market being investable?
well, exactly. I think from the perspective of the investors, now the market is quite now able to offer more a diversity of products and depth of the market. Three down the line within the period of about a year gives a lot of confidence that even as we look ahead to what's coming through, the market now is literally now getting to be more sophisticated, more deeper, and I think the texture is changing. If I have to look at the sort of players who have gotten onto the market now, we had one in the energy sector, we had one in the mining sector, and just now we've got one in the agri space, Zambia Sugar. It gives a lot of confidence that the market is now getting bigger and better. If you have to look at the strategic intent that we've had for the markets between the short to long term, we've had a lot of talk around how do we peer ourselves among the emerging markets. Correct. How do we also peer ourselves around the frontier markets, positioning. One of the few criteria around us being able to peer ourselves in those respective categories is the need for us to be able to offer products that can attract international capital. Right. And if we have to look at what we've already given you now as a CMIH, CEC, and now today Zambia Sugar, it gives you a lot of confidence that the market now is actually evolving to be within the radar of the emerging markets. It's also evolving to be within the radar of the frontier markets. So on the perspective of the market, we're actually seeing that the depth of the market coming through. It also gives us a lot of visibility because now we can be able to talk serious ticket sizes with international capital that can then flow into products which can accommodate for large ticket capital inflows. So we are very excited from that perspective and happy to get to see that we have got three now listed above $1 billion, and we're looking forward now to the remaining ones to be able to come through into that billion bracket.
Absolutely. And when Financial Insight has been following the progress and success, if I could call it that, of our stock market, it's been reported internationally that it's been one of the best performers. Valuations like this cement that position. What is your take on the importance of especially companies from a sustainable point of view of ensuring that they tell a lot more stories about how their companies are doing, how they're creating value, and what impact that actually has on the market overall?
Well, I think disclosure is one of the few tenets of our capital markets, because remember, markets thrive on trust. So it becomes quite very important that even as we're talking about the sustainability of liquidity into the market, sustainability of growth, and even the capital appreciation, we must be very transparent in the way we're doing things. And we must be able to give credit to Zambia Sugar. They've actually been lead in terms of being able to openly discuss some of their strategic objectives over the medium to long term. And those are things that have actually helped them to be able to get a lot of attraction of capital from different investors. And obviously the fact that the market is premised on disclosure, we've been able to get to see consistent reports coming through in terms of the interims. And those interims, you have to look at even the last few disclosures, they've actually been positioning themselves to be very strong in terms of corporate earnings. So if we can maintain a similar momentum of disclosure between the medium to long term, we will be able to keep that sustainability around investors coming through, but most importantly, also allowing us then to be able to sustain the interest that is now being garnered as a result of some of these reports where we're seeing Zambia Sugar becoming 1 billion market capitalized stock. So between now and obviously into the medium and long term, we anticipate the sustainability of this momentum only if the disclosures and transparency around what the company is doing are sustained. We do want to be able to make mention that as regulators, we are actually quite hard on those particular tenets because it helps us then to sustain the governance of the market. It also helps us sustain the interest that we're already getting to see in the markets. And going forward, we anticipate that that particular interest will be sustained on the premise of such kind of ongoing information flow coming through from the corporates.
Right, and then maybe just on a final note, as you look, to the remainder of the year, we are, this has come at the beginning of the year. It does kind of give, our markets a bit of a bounce, at the beginning of the year.
Correct.
What's your outlook looking like for 2026?
The outlook for the LuSE is quite positive for this year. We are anticipating, obviously, that the sort of traffic flows that we saw last year will possibly be maintained going into 2026. We've got few transactions that were lined up. We've got a listing potentially coming through before the end of the first quarter. That potentially gives us a lot of, like you are saying, a good bounce to the year because now we can leverage that particular, wave of, participation of investors into the market through that IPO to be the one that also takes us as a leapfrog into the rest of the year. We also have got a few other products that we're still intending to be able to launch, all things being equal. We have got the ongoing, exchange traded fund, the commodity driven. We want to be able to launch it this year. We're keeping our fingers, tightly crossed that all the fundamentals remaining the way they've been planned around. We can then be able to issue that particular instrument to the market. Obviously, we are still waiting to have the closure on the sustainability bond that was issued and announced last year by Zonaco. We're closing it out hopefully within the first half of the year. So again, that helps us out. And if you have to look at the momentum that we're building up around, the retail investors, that we anticipate to be maintained even going into this year. The economy is still looking up, and that also gives us a very strong fundamental sort of basis on which can attract additional inflows of, investors, both foreign and local. And obviously that also gives us a lot of perspective of how strong the corporate earnings might be even among these particular listed companies. So looking ahead into the year, we remain very positive and bullish in terms of how the outlook will be. It's an election year, so again, there might be mixed reaction from different quarters of our investors, but we still remain quite very optimistic that there'll be a very well measured, performance that will come through from the investors, and positions will change both between the fixed income market as well as the equity market. Both will have a very reasonable share of their participation, and going towards the end of the year, we anticipate we might be able to get to see an uplift of activity over and above what we saw last year.
Absolutely. Now, Nicholus, thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Mwelwa. I appreciate it.
And, a great congratulations on number 3. Hopefully,
Exactly.
And wishing you many more to come. So are you able to ring the bell for us?
Please, let me ring it for you.
Yes, thank you so much.
So we are here to get you the 4th one coming soon.
Absolutely.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Thanks so much
So
for
we've
your
been
time.
speaking to Nicholus, from the CEO of the Lusaka Securities Exchange. So stay tuned for more insights as we continue to cover this developing story, as well as the work of the Lusaka Securities Exchange.